Everybody has this problem in their golf bag. Now, the problem I'm talking about is something that people don't really realize a lot of the time. And it's something I've found many times when I'm doing a gapping session. Now, in the gapping session, what we're trying to do is we're trying to hit all of the clubs through the bag to see how far each one goes. So then we can use a good strategy around the golf course, identify strengths, identify weaknesses, to see if we can't find out where we're losing shots and where we can gain shots on the scorecard. Now, the concept I'm talking about here is very much related to loft. It's also very much related to speed. And when this problem occurs, there are a few different ways you can combat it or work to get rid of it. Now, I might have had a little bit of a tattoo, which is in the healing process, so I can't hit the ball full, which is absolutely ideal for this test. I'm not swinging through the ball with all of my speed. I'm not following through properly because I am being a little bit of a namby-pamby. But I feel like I can put something fairly consistent on the ball relative to the concept I'm trying to explain. So in a gapping session, what we'll do is we'll start with the wedges, we'll work our way up through the bag, gradually getting longer. As we get through that process, we start seeing strengths, we start seeing shots where the distance stays nice and consistent. And I normally find that we get to a club and everything falls apart. The consistency goes, the direction, the distance, the confidence absolutely disappears at some point in that gapping session for every golfer. Maybe not the one that goes all the way through to 2 iron and still hits it good, but there's normally somewhere where one of the clubs just isn't quite flying right and maybe gives the same numbers as another iron. For example, last year I was going through my gapping figures, and when I got to my 5 iron, I was having quite a good time. I went pitch 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, up, through the bag, no problem. And then I hit my 4 iron. And everything statistically on the launch monitor and feeling-wise, flight-wise, direction, absolutely fell apart. I literally had 8 out of 10 shots going the same distance as the 5 iron with a bigger spread, which is not ideal. And the way that I dealt with that at the time was to literally just take the 4 iron out and stop using it, which kind of saddened me a little bit. And I have seen that same sort of behaviour in the golf bag, go pitch and wedge 9 iron, 8 iron, 7 iron, and then everything falls apart for that golfer. So everyone's got a different spectrum as to when this problem occurs, and you might have already realised it, and you might have a really shiny 3 iron and a really shiny 4 iron in your set of irons that you don't use. And if you don't use them, why do you keep buying them? Now, there is a bit of a loft creep with the modern clubs, where the new clubs are a lot stronger than the older ones, and your new 5 iron is the loft of your old 3 iron. In many cases. I remember seeing some Cobra irons where the 5 iron was 21 degrees, which is a textbook 3 iron about 10 years ago. And in that set of irons, they don't make a 4 iron or a 3 iron. It doesn't exist at all because they're so strong lofted at that top end of the bag that the ball won't get airborne. Now, we do sometimes need loft, and everyone's stock clubs will have different lofts on them, and they will throw out different yardages. Now, when we're hitting irons, there's an optimal level of spin, which helps the ball stay in the air when you put energy into it. And if someone's got maybe a slower swing speed through the ball and is maybe using equipment that is designed to have lower spin because it makes the ball go further, it can cause some issues. If we've got a 7 iron that's spinning at 2, 3, 4,000, it's going to make the club go further. It's going to make it travel through the air better. It's going to make it land and run a lot more. So you look at that in a fitting, in a retailer, and you think, oh, lovely, that's going miles. I love that. It's 20 yards further than my last 7 iron. Truth of the matter is that when we go to the 6 iron and the 5 iron, shank. The 6 and 5 iron don't have enough loft or don't have enough lift to keep the ball in the air to actually give us that club's yardage. Because that 7 iron that spins low is actually going like our old 5 iron. And if you didn't use a 3 and 4 iron before that, you don't need to replace those clubs. Now, you might have already realised this yourself in a bag where you just have no confidence with your longest iron, or you have no confidence with a little group of clubs at the top of your bag. And it could be that they don't lift, they don't launch, they don't spin enough to stay in the air and give you that yardage. And you might even keep one of them in there just to chip out the trees. Literally, that is a common thing that people have. 6 iron, 5 iron, 4 iron, 3 iron. I'm not striking them too badly in all fairness, but this might just show you what I mean. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yardages. 3 iron, not bad. Yeah, 210 to 237. 4 iron, 194 to 211. 5 iron, 196 to 211. They're doing the same thing. Now, if they're doing the same thing, why do I need both clubs in the golf bag? Now, again, one way to fix this is to take one of those out. The 5 iron went faster, it launched higher, it spun very similar, landed in the same area, so we're getting the same parameters on those two shots. And ideally, with all the clubs in the golf bag, I want each club to have a different purpose, to give a different yardage, or at least to provide a different flight to another club. In the past, I have used 5 wood and a 2 iron in at the same time. They give me very similar yardages, but one's up and one's along. So I'm doing that on purpose by design. But if I've got 2 clubs there doing the same thing yardage wise, I do not need both of them. I might as well take one out, make my bag lighter, or take one out and use that gap in the bag with another club that has a function. So we can remove golf clubs if they don't statistically give us the right results. And if you're the sort of golfer that doesn't want to improve their swing, doesn't want to improve their game, you sit at a desk Monday to Friday 9 till 5 and you're quite happy with what you do out on the golf course and you go and enjoy yourself, just take that club out. Don't stress yourself, you don't need it. If you are looking to progress, we might need a bit more speed into the ball. So we might need to do something that generates more speed for us to give us more energy into the ball, to give us more spin, to help that ball stay in the air longer. And one concept I like in terms of generating more speed without having to learn something too different is if I imagine throwing this club as far as I can. So if I'm going to throw this club, I will throw that club without letting go of it. And then the task of throwing that club gives me more zip, gives me more fire through the golf ball. And I don't need to learn how to connect all the dots in terms of what my muscles are doing, what my body's doing. I'm just thinking, how would I throw that? And I'm trying to throw the club and I'm trying to get contact on the ground that's a nice swish. I don't really want to throw it like that, and I don't really want to throw it like that, because that won't really give us very good strikes. So we'd learn this without hitting golf balls first, and then put the golf ball in the way once we're getting some clean strikes, to help build in a bit more pace, a bit more speed, get that ball more airborne, so we've got something to work from a bit better longer term. 1 yard offline, 0.6 yards offline. Now, going through a gapping session or something like that might just help you expose where the weakness is in the bag. You might learn where some strengths are in the bag in terms of the consistency of where that ball lands, so you can predict the shot a bit easier. I found that 109 yards is my most consistent number altogether, and I try and get that shot on the golf course as much as possible. And I learned that from my first gapping. That number might change over the course of a year, but it's somewhere around that, but it's a good thing to start from. We can take out that club, we can put in something more forgiving, we can put in a hybrid, we can put in more hybrids, we can put in 7 woods, we can put in 5 woods that just help the ball get airborne compared to where those clubs that are more iron-like, lower launching and harder to hit. If you're already in the market for new clubs, you want to make sure that your spin rate on the 7 iron isn't too low. Now, too low is like 2, 3, 4,000. 4,000, you can maybe get away with it, but you don't need the clubs at the top end. I'm generally looking for 5,500 to 6,500 backspin off a 7 iron to make sure I've got enough speed into the ball to make me able to hit the long irons. You might already know you have this problem, you might not know that you have this problem, so it might get you thinking when you're on the golf course, is there a club you really don't like? Bin it or find a way to replace it, either with better technique, a bit more speed, or with a different club entirely that's maybe a bit more lofted, more forgiving, bigger head, hybrid, fairway wood. I am experimenting with a 7 wood myself because I'm just curious. Now, do you think you have a weakness in the bag? Have you done something similar to this where you've already identified a weakness in the bag and made adjustments to help it? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious to see what you've done, what you've found, what you might find after this video to help you play better golf with the clubs in your bag, because I am genuinely curious. Genuinely curious. Now, if you like the way I do things, if you like the way I describe things, smash the like button, get a little subscription in there so you can see the next videos, and I will see you on the next one when you press it.